Now. So my name is Jeanette Joseph, and I'm a co-founder of J4 Systems, and I head up our business development team. Today's presenter is Trevor Smith, who has worked at J4 Systems for almost 2 years. Prior to J4 Systems, he was in the United States Marine Corps, where he was a data network specialist. He's also been a network administrator and is an integral part of our network operating center on a daily basis, working with dozens of companies throughout California. We also have John Joseph to help with questions along the way. He is a co-founder of J4 Systems and heads up our technical team. John has over 30 years of IT experience, and he works with medium enterprise level organizations, including Cloudflare, Pete's Coffee, Clark Pacific, and many others. Let's see. J4 Systems is a 26-year-old information technology company, and we partner with Microsoft, Cisco, Citrix, VMware, HP, and many more. You can see a few of them here on this slide. We also hold a CMAS certification that allows us to work with state agencies within California. And as a network integrator, our engineers specialize in many types of technology: security, virtualization, disaster recovery planning, and of course, Microsoft's full stack of technologies. With that, I'm going to go ahead and let Trevor take over and demonstrate OneNote, OneDrive, and SharePoint.
Thank you, Jeanette, for the lovely introduction. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So as we discussed, we're going to be talking about OneNote today. And then later on, we're also going to be touching a little bit on how to share documents and files within OneDrive as well as SharePoint. We'll mostly focus on OneNote though. So let me go ahead and bring open my OneNote. And here we go. So here is a OneNote document. So quick questions before we get started. You might be asking, what is OneNote? OneNote is a digital note-taking tool that automatically syncs and saves all your notes so you can access them on your desktop, your laptop, your cell phone, any tablets that you might be using. So it's really powerful in that sense. All you need to get started with using OneNote is either a Windows 10 machine. It actually comes pre-installed already. Additionally, you can go to Microsoft.com, sign in with an account if you already have one, and then you'll also see OneNote as one of the applications there. And again, that is free to use. So here you can see I have the desktop client open right here. So this is, in fact, OneNote. This is the desktop version that's installed from Office. It's not the free version that comes pre-installed, but the similarities are pretty much similar in every way. That you might just notice a couple of display differences. So I'll go ahead and just open that up really quickly here so you can see what I'm talking about. And really, it just pertains onto how the document itself is actually set up. So in here, you can see we have my first notebook, which is normally what you'd want to see. You usually have your notebooks here, and then underneath that you will generally see sections followed by pages. So this is literally think of it literally as a digital notebook where you have certain sections and then multiple pages within each section. So this is the free version. So you can see here it's just a little bit different looking, but pretty much everything is in there. Okay, so back to the desktop version here. You'll notice right off the bat, if you're familiar with using Microsoft products, that the toolbar at the top and the ribbon tool is pretty much the same. This looks very familiar to Word. There's definitely a couple of different things in here, like tags, and I'll touch on this a little bit. Also, there's different ways to insert your files, your images, and all your different types of media. So this is really handy. Drawing. I probably wouldn't recommend drawing on a desktop necessarily unless you're really good at it, but it's sometimes pretty hard to do with a mouse. But this is really handy if you're using OneNote specifically on your mobile devices, like your cell phone with a stylus or a tablet with a stylus. That's really handy, and I will demonstrate this a little bit as well. In your history, you can obviously go back and check in your older edits and revisions of the same OneNote file. So you can see if I click on page versions, over here, there's quite a few different versions that we've been working on. So if you ever need to restore an older copy, you can do so. And this is really useful, especially since OneNote's really meant to be a collaborative application. So if you have multiple people jumping in this one file or this one page or what have you, it can get sometimes a little confusing to see who's doing what. So you can always see who did exactly what by the history and page revisions. Of course, you also have your review section, which is pretty standard, you know, spell check and thesaurus and all that good stuff. And then you also have this password section. So just one thing to note about the password, it doesn't actually password protect the entire notebook. What it actually does is allows you to put a password on a specific section. So if you wanted to lock down the vendors tab, you can go ahead and do that. And then, of course, any linked notes. And then there's a couple of viewing options here. So if we ever wanted to change the default view of, let's say, the page color, we can make this color. We put different lines in here. You have grid options as well. So just a lot of functionality in terms of customization there. And if you do plan on using this quite a lot, you can see there's quite a different views you can choose from. You can dock this to your desktop, which will pretty much pin it to the side over here. And you can see we have our little notebook. So if you have your other applications, you can just quickly take notes on the side here. Instead of using something like maybe Notepad where things can kind of get a little messy at times. Okay, so that was a quick introduction. I just wanted to show you and go over some of the main things on the toolbar itself. So now let's move down here. So this is the actual OneNote notebook itself. So in here you can see we have a Office Move. This is just a sample notebook in here. And you can also see you have other notebooks. You can create another notebooks, open another notebook, and these ones can be saved locally on your computer, or you can access them from OneDrive or SharePoint. This little quick notes, if you just want to quickly make a note, you can actually click this and it'll make a new little section right here. So that's those options there. And then if you ever wanted to change the way the notebooks look themselves, you can actually just right click on them and you can see you have a few more options. So if we wanted to rename this notebook to something else, we could do so. We could change the color, save where it's saved, so or change where it's saved, sorry. So if we wanted to sync with OneDrive, a specific folder, we can update that here. So lots of custom features for you. So once you have a notebook, you'll then see that you have different sections. Again, very similar to an actual notebook. So right here, you can see we have a moving checklist. And in here, you can also see that we have, obviously, the checklist with some items checked. So most commonly, you're probably familiar with using an unordered list, like a bullet here, where you can just change the numbers or the character here, or you usually have an ordered list where you can keep making numbers, all that good stuff. But where OneNote is really cool is it actually has the ability to make these custom tags. So that's how this checklist is actually being created, by using the tags feature over here. So let me right click on this and open up the customize view. So in here you can see there's actually quite a few tags that are pre-built by Windows or OneNote. So these are, for the most part, all the ones that have already been added in by default. So you have quite a lot of options to choose from here. These ones right here are my favorite. That's why they have little control numbers on them so I can quickly access them. So in order to do one of these guys, all you have to do is enter down. And since I'm actually already in a checklist, it's just going to keep adding the last used tag until I remove tags from this this actual block of checklist. So if I remove that tag, now you can see that there's no check mark for me to put in. So I just wanted to show you that. And then another cool thing about OneNote that you may have kind of noticed is it's not linear. What I mean by that is it's not like Word, where you can only type on one, the very upper left-hand part of the document, fill up a line and go down to the next line. OneNote, I can type anywhere. I can type here. I can click way over here. Type there. And I can move all of this stuff around. So there is quite a lot of flexibility in what you're doing in OneNote. So it's really awesome. Another cool thing about the tags is that it allows you to actually search through the entire notebook as well as all your notebooks for any of the specific tags. So if I click Find Tags right here in the toolbar, you'll see on the right-hand side of the screen that it actually has this tags summary. So in here you can see that we have a reminder, but you don't actually see it on this screen. It's actually on this page right here. But going back here, you can do a couple of things. We can search, we can filter the tags by section, the title. If you're looking down here, the to-do list, we can notice that we already have a few items checked. So if we wanted to just show the remaining items that we need to actually complete, we'll just check this and it removes the reminders and it cleans this section up for us. If you're actually in this window, and let's say we make a new tag really quickly here. So I'll just put my name and then we'll just use this as the contact tag. You'll notice that it created the contact, but it hasn't actually updated in the tag summary. So you'll just want to hit refresh and now you'll see it's added a contact. And then again, this is just searching for tags within this notebook, but if you have multiple notebooks, you can always search for all notebooks or certain pages or what have you. Okay, and then let's move on down to the reminders. Same thing. So if you wanted to create a reminder or any other tag, we can do that. So let's go ahead and customize this so I can show you how to create a new tag. So we're going to add a new tag. And we'll just say, don't forget. And then down here, you have quite a lot of options in terms of symbols. So if you want to do a checkbox where you can kind of turn it into a to-do list type of thing, you can use one of these options. If you just want to make like little bullet points or little exclamations like I've done here, we can just select a more appropriate icon. Let's just make this a little exclamation. In here, you can also see you can change the font color. So if we wanted to make the font, it's pretty hard to see. Let's make it this, then highlight the color, and there we go. So now we have a new tag, and if we just place the cursor and just tag it, there we go. Now you can see you have another tag, and again you can always search them in here. So we have all these reminders and don't forget. So it's very handy. I really like using tags. Just keeps everything that much more organized for me. So now, as you can see on our checklist, we actually have to find a moving company. So let's go ahead and research moving companies now. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my web browser for you guys. And let's go ahead and search for 2 men in a truck. Let's use these guys as a company here. So one cool thing you can do is, let's just say we're on a random page. It doesn't have a clean URL. Let's copy this guy here. We can clean this up in OneNote, and this is pretty common. You can do this in pretty much every application I'm aware of, at least. But you just want to bring it to your attention if you aren't aware of this, that you can actually clean the way it displays up and still keep the link there. So we'll go ahead and update that. And let's say we also want to add in an image for some reason. Let's go to their contact page maybe. And let's take a screenshot of their contact us. So we'll just grab this information here and we'll save it to our desktop. There we go. So just like pretty much any other Microsoft program, you can always just drag and drop files in here, or you can also come up to the Insert tab menu and insert the pictures that way as well. So either way works just fine. Another cool thing, one thing I don't like about using pictures necessarily is you can't really grab any text from it, so that's kind of a nuisance a little bit. You don't want to have to type all this information in. So OneNote actually makes it pretty easy for you to just extract this text. So you can copy the picture and then right-click anywhere else, and then keep text only. And you can see here it's extracted the address and the phone number and the contact information for 2 men and a truck. So from here, again, I can clean this up further by adding tags and just make my life that much easier if I need to share information or look things up quickly, like what's the contact number for 2 men and a truck. It makes it really straightforward for me to do so. And then I can even add this guy as an address. And now when we go back to our tags, you can see everything's just filling in really nicely over here. Right, and then let's also go over to the IT company, because again, we've got to get the IT involved. They definitely need to be moving your servers over, getting everything ready to go so you guys can work. So your IT, let's say we need to, I don't know, insert a file for some reason. So let's go ahead and show you that. So I'm going to open up my file attachments here from the Files Insert menu. And again, you can either drag and drop this in, or you can just attach it as I'm doing now. So let's go ahead and put this sample file in here. And you'll notice you have 2 options. You can attach the file, or you can insert a printout. I'm going to attach a file first, and you can see here it just pretty much makes an attachment. So if you double click on this, it'll open your file for you. No problem. The other option that you saw there, I'll just do this real quick, is the insert printout. And what this will do is it will actually create another attachment, but it'll actually embed the contents inside the document for you, or inside OneNote for you. So that's also pretty handy. And then from here, you can always extract the text if you need to edit it for whatever reason within OneNote outside of this cleaned up form here. And of course, you have tons of other options. I won't demonstrate every single one of them here. They're pretty self-explanatory and easy to navigate. You do have symbols that you can put in and drag and drop, so it is pretty powerful if you need to use that type of thing. Their equations are pretty advanced, so I definitely don't use them, but if you're smarter than I am, go for it. So those are pretty handy. So let's go ahead and demonstrate some of the drawing things here really quickly. I won't spend too much of your time on this. I'm pretty sure you guys know how to draw. So in here we got the type effect, your lasso, so you can select anything that you've drawn. Your panning hand, if you just need to move the screen around and see what's going on here. If you have a big document or OneNote file. So let's go ahead and just click on here, and let me see if I can get this to work for you guys. So here I just did some text. So let's try to select this text right here, and I'm going to actually hit ink to text. And what this should do is hopefully convert my kind of sloppy handwritten message into a cleaner text. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But you can see it is trying to do what it's supposed to, but it's not 100% yet. But other drawing, obviously you have your normal things. You can make your different colors here. Just pretty straightforward things. You can obviously embed images, so if you need to do any planning to see what a table would look like right here, maybe you want to throw in another table right here, you can easily do that in here. It's very, customizable. And if multiple people plan this, they can jump in and edit as well, or at least give feedback. So I just want to also demonstrate another useful feature for tags. Let's say you are actually doing an office move and you want to know how much equipment in each floor or each room needs to be moved. And there might not be an easy way for you to really track that quickly so that everybody is on the same page. So one thing you could do, just randomly here, is we can create a custom tag. So I created one called totals. So all this is really doing is it's just going to serve as a placeholder for anything that I want to keep track of a certain number or amount of. So let's go back over here. I'll hit the type button. So let's say we have a bunch of chairs that we need to keep track of. We have a bunch of tables, bookcases. Here. Lamp or two. And then over here, you just fill in this information as you normally would, whatever your totals happen to be. And let's go ahead. And then again, what you could potentially do, again, this is just a pretty arbitrary example here. You could then, put your totals here. And then, of course, if we're ever on the moving checklist and, if somebody just has access to one other page, for example, and they wanted to check the tags, they could still see that the totals for all the bookcases, chairs, lamps, etc. are all listed right there, all clean for them. So they don't really have to dig around too much just to get a quick overview of what's going on, or at least information that you want to bring to people's attention very easily. So it's very, very handy. So now that we have some information in here, let's go ahead and discuss how you could potentially share some of this information here. So within OneNote, you can obviously, there's the file share option here. So in here we can share with people. So I can send this over to John. I can send it to Jeanette, anybody I really want to, include a personal message. So we'll go ahead and send this over. And one thing to note is this can edit. If you don't want anybody editing it, you just want them to view it, you can change that here. But they can go ahead and edit it if they want to. And then when you go ahead and share this out, you want to make sure that Outlook is actually opened. Otherwise, the invite won't be sent. So just one caveat. Another option that you can do here is you can send this directly. You can send certain pages or sections. So you can email a page, send them as attachments. You can create a PDF out of something and then just send it that way, or you can create it into Word. So there's quite a lot of flexibility in here as well. And of course, since OneNote is synced up with OneDrive, let me go ahead and open this up for you. You'll see here I have my OneDrive folder. Let me expand this so you can see it a little bit more. So in here, everything that you see in this OneDrive folder should be online. So if I'm ever out of the office and I'm working solely from my cell phone or a tablet or a laptop, and I don't have a note here, if everything is, as long as it's in this folder right here, I should be good to go to just see it on the web. So let me go ahead and demonstrate that now. So if you just right click on your OneDrive folder and click View Online, you'll see that OneDrive opens. And like I said, everything that's in here should show up as a one-for-one match here. So now that we're in OneDrive, I'm not going to touch too much on this here, but I just want to bring your attention to the sync button. So if you don't see your folders, you can probably want to hit sync, and then this will make sure everything is synced up with your local computer and OneDrive. And quickly in here, it's pretty straightforward. Again, it's just taking what's on your desktop. So anything that you have, all your files will be able to see up here in the cloud. So that's very handy. The other option, of course, is SharePoint. So let's go ahead and open up SharePoint. And one thing to note, OneDrive and SharePoint, OneDrive is more or less, the way I look at it is you'd probably want to use OneDrive more or less for your individual files. That's probably what you'd be using. SharePoint is, I think of it more or less as a library for your organization. So if your whole organization has a whole bunch of data that they want to send out or share with a group of people, it'd probably be shared through SharePoint. It can be done through OneDrive as well, but it's usually done through SharePoint. The OneDrive is more or less just your own personal files and folders that you then decide to share out. So within SharePoint here, you see a bunch of groups in here. So I'm going to open up the internal projects group here. So in here, you can see a bunch of our files. So again, anybody, oops, sorry about that. Anybody that has access to or is a part of that group will be able to see those files. So we'll just get back in here. Right, so if we were to jump into for example, a server consolidation, get this a little bit bigger for you guys. Server consolidation and infrastructure. And you can see these are just a few of some of the documents we have. We have an Excel and a Word document, a couple in there. So let's actually go ahead and create a brand new Word doc. This is being created in SharePoint right now. So I'm going to throw in some random text here. And let's go ahead and save this. It's actually already saving since it's in SharePoint, as you can see right here. But if you want to give it a more meaningful name, you'll probably want to save as, just so you can recognize it. Otherwise, it's just going to show up as document 1. Go ahead and save this document. So now this is saved in SharePoint. But more specifically, it's saved within our server consolidation and infrastructure group. And like I said, SharePoint, since this is an organization level directory, basically, it's being shared with anybody who has access to internal projects. So what we can actually do at this point is open up Teams, for example. Let me bring my client over here. And then if I were to go to Teams, you'll see that here are the SharePoint. Here's the internal projects. Here's the server consolidation and infrastructure channel that I was in. And if I go to Files, you'll see the sample file random that we just created. So if I open this guy up right here, now you'll notice that this is opening within Teams. It's not opening, outside of Teams. It's all, clean and consolidated. And one of the great things about SharePoint specifically is when you are sharing files and collaborating, it allows you to co-edit. So as you can see, if I hover my cursor over here, you can see my name. So anything I'm doing up here is just going to go ahead and type some stuff here. And you can also see John Joseph is in this document as well. So if he needs to edit, he can do something. So right now we are both co-editing the same file. So that's pretty awesome. I know from firsthand experience, this can probably resolve the main issue where, you have a bunch of people working on a network drive or a shared file like Excel, and, maybe somebody opens that on one machine and then somebody else tries to open the same file while it's still open, and it gives them a message saying it's locked for editing. They have to close it, and it's always a bit of a hassle. This totally prevents that from actually being an issue. So that's really, really nice. So I'll go ahead and close that. All right, and that essentially concludes our OneNote and OneDrive webinar. We can go ahead and open up the floor to any questions if there's any at this time.
I'm not seeing a lot of questions here. Let's see. We'll give it just a minute. I did get a couple of requests for the recording after.
Okay, perfect.
John, do you want to stop recording at this point? And then, so thank you, Trevor.